I'm Shane Nyland, and my co-host is Blake Musser. And these stories you're about to hear are from Weapons Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 1st Marine Division, about the events surrounding and directly from the mouths of the people who were in Ramadi 2004. This is part 2 with Bill Groves from Mobile Assault Platoon 2.
But let's see. When was trying to remember, when did the Abrams shoot at us? Not to ruin the punchline of the story, but
No, that's okay. I actually don't remember the date. I wish I did.
all right. So I think I heard somebody else tell the story too, but I was there and I'm going to tell it too. Why not?
Not very many people get shot at by an Abrams and live. You're allowed.
Yeah. So I remember we had the high back, we had all the dismounts, and all the dismounts they got out of the truck and they ran across Michigan and kind of had dug in a little bit behind a bush. And we'd been there. I don't even think we were there for that long. Like, they had just gotten set up, and I was facing the opposite way. So my back was towards the Abrams, and Geezer was, I think Geezer was looking the other way too. Geezer was looking forward too. And you heard it shoot, and then it whizzed by. And I remember thinking, that didn't sound like an RPG. Although I remember, like, you could see that, like, just the flash of light go by the Humvee. And I was like, oh, fuck, that was close. And you saw it, detonate in front of us a little ways. And Geezer, bless his heart, man, he fucking spun that gun 90 degrees and he just unloaded. Because I think the dismounts, like Matroka and Miranda, I think they started shooting towards the Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
And in the heat of the moment, man, Geezer saw muzzle flashes and he thought we were getting ambushed right there. And so he fucking spun that gun 90 degrees and he just laid the butterfly trigger down flat. And I remember thinking, stop! I was like, no, don't. And I remember seeing, like, the tracers skipping over. I was like, oh, shit. And then everybody's yelling, ceasefire, ceasefire. And I remember seeing J.D. Stevens, like, in the middle of the road. Like, the Abrams started rolling out. You could hear the tracks. And then once you heard, like, the tracks come, we knew exactly what happened. And it was like watching fucking an action movie, watching JD walk down the middle of the street and this Abrams is coming at him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's all silhouetted with just that. And I was like, oh, this is going to be good. I think, like, he jumped up on the tank too. I was just like, oh man, I wish I could be over there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when Monroe almost killed all our dismounts on accident.
Yep. Yeah, fortunately, and again, this is one of those things, Monroe was stupidly accurate with a 50 cal. And that was
good.
That was the one fucking time he mostly missed. Like, it was, he somehow did not kill Cohen, Matroka, Miranda, who were all sitting over there.
I don't think you could see him. I think they were kind of down in a little depression.
Yeah.
I don't think I mean, if he chewed up the ground enough, he would have got through, but
Yeah.
I think he was just going right over the top. I don't think he had a good, I bet they didn't realize that. I bet they were, shitting bricks, but
Yeah.
I remember I was talking to Cohen and he said he was basically laying down and he was watching the tracers go over him. And I was like, fuck, man. I know Monroe felt horrible about that.
Yeah.
But
dude, and you certainly don't get to expect to get shot at by anything of that size ever. I mean, it was just a hell of a moment. And so literal shell shock, right? Like,
yeah,
you're just going to start shooting back.
Yeah. I remember at one point, and I forget when it was, but we took contact at night one time and they hit the driver's side, like right in front where my face was at, like hit the windshield. I remember thinking, that's interesting. Like, nobody even, like, it didn't bother anybody. Like, by this point in the deployment, like, we were unfazed by little shit. Like it.
Yeah.
So I remember the Abrams one being kind of a big deal, but outside of getting shot at by an Abrams, I think by this point in the deployment, there wasn't many fucks to give. We were just like, oh, that's interesting. But
yeah.
You're either dead or you're not.
Yeah.
If you're not dead, you need to get in the fight because it's happening.
Well, anything else kind of strike you from the summer? I can start listing off a bunch of dates, but I'm just curious if anything else that stands out, any other weird missions? Because we did a lot of random weird shit.
Yeah, we did a lot of random weird shit. I mean, I don't necessarily remember a lot of like the missions. Like I remember the fuckery that we had. Like I remember there was the debacle about shooting off the bridge. I don't know how in depth we're going to get into that one, but we don't have to.
You can tell it. You can tell if you want. Otherwise, I'm gonna talk to those people and try to ask them to tell their part of it because I would love to hear from their perspective. But yeah, you can talk about it if you want.
Well, that's not my story, but the story I was told was some guys were on the bridge OP during the guard post that we have, and they saw some. I want to say I think they said they were like the Iraqi police digging in an IED, and they lit them up. But when the SOG or the corporal of the guard or the sergeant of the guard got there, they might have been a little bit inebriated, and some might have been passed out. And then the rumors started flying that they were throwing their whiskey bottles and trying to shoot the whiskey bottles. So I don't know what's true. So I'll be tuning in for that episode when it comes up. I hope you can get one of those three guys to tell that story because
I think they should. They don't have to, but I hope they do. And I'll reach out to them, and I've reached out to them personally.
Well, you got 3 shots to get the story, so
yeah.
Hopefully one of them buckles and gets it. But I remember I was on the guard shift right before theirs, and that was when the kid came up and asked, because whenever we're on guard post, like they come up and say, "Hey, Mister, you want chicken? You want fiki?" You know, they do all that weird shit. And that was I was up there with Ghost with Miranda, and I tossed this kid a $5 bill, thinking that I would never see any food. But sure as shit, this little kid comes back with like a whole chicken and like flatbread and like pickled vegetables, and it was delicious. And I don't regret it. But the very next post is when the guys had shot off the bridge, and I think First Sergeant Mack and Captain Weiler weren't too happy about it. And so they asked if anybody else had any contact with the locals while they were on guard post. And I had said that I did. And I don't know if it was like an official NJP, but I remember, and Shane, I don't know if you remember, they gave me 30 days hard labor, and they said 30 days half pay, but I didn't have a bank, so I don't know how true that was. But I had to fill sandbags every day for 4 hours. Like if we were on day taskable, as soon as day taskable ended, I had 4 hours where I had to fill sandbags, which ultimately it ended up being a good thing because I filled enough sandbags to barricade like all of map 3, all of map 2. We made a smoke pit out of them.
Yeah.
And reinforced a lot of the hooches. And shortly after I was done with it, like we took some pretty accurate rocket fire, mortar fire that landed close and like blew up one of the air conditioner units, or at least shrapnel shredded the air conditioner unit. So, and those walls weren't real thick. So I like to think that my stupidity saved somebody in map 3. So you're welcome, map 3, if you're listening.
Yeah. And your sandbags on our hooch also definitely stopped mortar fire from coming in and killing Lopez at some point, because a mortar landed right where he slept. Yeah.
So that's why I said I don't regret it. Although the 30 days hard labor was kind of bullshit, but thanks, Mac. If you're listening, I appreciate it now. But
it's funny because I can't imagine what it was like being in charge of this group of misfits, because you have to kind of balance, like, I need to keep people in the fight, but I also need to punish you. And like, what can I punish you with? Right. Like I can't take it away. Your life is already.
Yeah. When you shave my head, send me to war. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Here we are. But, and I remember that was like the running joke. Like, yeah, what are they going to do? You shave your head, send you to war?
Yeah.
So, but it all worked out pretty well, I think.
Well, so transitioning while we're talking about the hooch, man, I would be willing to bet you've got some great stories about hooch life, because I remember some great stories with you about hooch life.
Oh man, dude, hooch life was wild. Yeah, so it's kind of weird, like the way the mission breakdown was, because we had I think mortars were broken down into 2 platoons, and then we had the 3 map platoons. So it was you worked day taskable, day QRF, night taskable, night QRF, and then guard.
Yeah.
And I was always jealous of the 81s because they had like 100 fucking bodies. It seemed like, and map 2 was I think was the smallest. Map 2 or map 3, but like we worked 8 on, 4 off, 8 on, or 8 off, 4 on. Yeah, 8 off, 4 on for basically a week straight. And so hooch life was always interesting. I remember for some reason, I don't know why, to this day, it doesn't make fucking sense to me, but I brought a butterfly knife with me.
Yes.
And it was sharp too. This thing was like I had this thing like razor sharp. And we were fucking around in the hooch one day, and I was twirling this thing around, and Tweeter came right up to me, and I acted like I was gonna slice at him. And unbeknownst to me, he put his hand up, and butterfly knife cut him so fucking deep. And Sergeant Neal, which ironically we called him Knife, he took that butterfly knife away. I still never got it back, which I don't blame him. But he took my butterfly knife away, rightfully so. But Tweeter's hand, I think one of the corpsmen just stitched it up.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Bundy stitched him up
like
from what I remember. Yeah, that was awesome. You brought a couple extra weapons on because you had a baton and a taser. I remember that.
Yeah, I did have a taser. The taser was just more for fucking around. Back then it was a cool phone, but it was like a phone MP3 player at the same time. When we had it, we were fucking around with a taser. It was still like we were in New Jersey, and someone had taken it away, and they had tased it, and it fried my phone, and so I couldn't even use my phone to listen to music. And I was like, God dang it! But yeah, the taser. We found stuff too. I think when we found that one weapons cache, or one of the platoons found a weapons cache, and they had this little like, I forget what it was called, somebody said it was like a Beretta M82 or M12 or something, like a little submachine gun.
Oh yeah.
And Swede fucking stole that shit, and we kept that in the center console of our Humvee. Just after seeing the fucking army guys get hit with that satchel, we didn't want somebody to roll up on us that we couldn't get our guns out quick. Then what else? Like we got Anderson and Bass, the boot drop. Did they come like midway through?
Yeah. They came like
So, yeah, I remember,
right in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. So they got there, and obviously we treated them, with open arms and duct taped them to a pole, and just normal stuff. But I remember the hooch, like when we first got there, it was basically just 4 walls and a tarp for a roof with a bunch of bunk beds.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we're not staying at the Ritz. I remember it was hot. It smelled bad. There was no running water. And although it did have a bathroom that was quickly designated as the Jack Shack, that's where everybody kept their porn. And then we had on the wall, like right when you leave the hooch, like everybody was like posting up like the centerfolds, and so we had like a whole wall of boobs as we left our hooch. So I was a big fan of that too. But yeah, I mean, I remember like when we weren't running missions, like I remember grappling in the dirt in the back. I remember somebody's dad like sent them. I don't remember if it was like a bottle of Listerine that they had put tequila in or something, or I remember like somebody had like the chocolate candies with whiskey or something like that, or bourbon.
Yeah, I do remember those.
Like I remember messing around with those in the back, but mostly it was just kind of hanging out, smoking and joking, and shooting the shit. I remember like we had the phone center on our base, but you couldn't. You could only use it if like nobody had been hurt or killed. Like if anybody got hurt or killed, like they waited till they did like death notifications. So it wasn't uncommon to lose phones for 3-4 days at a time, and then have it on, and then gone for 3 or 4 days at a time. And I remember we had a little gym there. I remember me and Jax would go work out, and we were in there one day doing a workout, and then Staff Sergeant Coleman comes in. We called him Big Boy, and he walked into on the incline bench. Maybe it was Tweeter. Maybe Tweeter was there too. But this dude, he was an animal. I mean, just absolute animal. He walked in. He put 3 plates on each side on the incline bench, lays under it, no warm up, no nothing, just reps out, I don't know, 10, 15 reps, whatever it was. Racks it and says, still got it. And he gets up and he leaves. Just leaves his weights, everything. I was just like, you know what? If 315 is your warm up, brother, you can leave that weight. We'll clean it for you. Don't worry about it.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I still remember when Big Boy came to our platoon. Like, it was almost like right before we left. It wasn't long before we deployed.
Yeah.
And I remember they were like, yeah, we're getting a new platoon sergeant, straight out of the drill field. And I remember thinking, fuck, man, this guy's going to like to run. He's going to be one of those guys. It's going to be just like back in boot camp. And he got there, and on the very first PT we did was a boots and use run, obviously way before Ramadi. And we took off running, and I was thinking, man, here we go. I hated boots and use. Like, I always fucked up my feet. And we didn't get a quarter mile into it, and Staff Sergeant Coleman was like, hey, let's slow it down in the front. And I was like, yeah, let's slow it down in the front. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what I knew, that me and Big Boy would be good friends. So
yeah. He didn't even go with us to March Air Force Base. So he had to have been. He couldn't have been with us maybe 3 weeks, something like that. Wasn't long.
Yeah. It was right before. What else happened?
Well, let's see. Here's I think of a couple of things that kind of happened. There was in July, OP Library got blown up, and that was when the Fox Company guys were trapped on the top. And we had to go out and do a bunch of quarterly.
Was that the hotel or the hospital?
Yeah, yeah.
Was that where they blew up like the whole corner of the building?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I remember that. Now I don't know how true the story is, but somebody said that, and this could be just Marines making up shit, but it's a funny story, so we can tell it anyway. And with the caveat of it may or may not be true. So, but somebody said that they were trying to shit into a bottle when the IED went off. Did you hear that?
I remember. Okay,
so I'm not the only one. All right, I'm not the only one. So maybe there's some truth to the story, but somebody said that they were trying to they had to shit, and they were trying to shit into a water bottle when the IED went off.
Yeah.
Now I don't know anything after that, but
I feel like
that was, somebody said that the. Go ahead.
I feel like Rake Brandt's the one that started that rumor. I feel like Rake Brandt's the one that started that rumor. I don't know if that was true or not, but yeah, the water bottle got stuck in his ass or something.
Yeah. That's the story that I heard. How true that is, I don't know.
I'm sure that is not true at all. That sounds like some bullshit, but that's
yeah. But it's still a good story. I don't care.
Yeah, it's great.
Man, like before we came onto the podcast, I remember thinking of all the stories, and now I can't think of shit. What other dates do you got?
I mean, that's the real big ones. The other one, let's see, rolling into the last bit of the deployment, we had July 28th is one I remember just because it was a fucking nightmare and it was super, super hot. There's 2 or 3 of us MAP platoons that were out in the south of the city, and there were 7 tons rolling, and we ended up in just an extended gunfight down in the south area, not too far from the soccer stadium. And we were basically going neighborhood to neighborhood, getting in these little short gunfights. And that was when they did the flyover with the fast mover. And everybody was so dehydrated because it was like 140 fucking degrees out. But the thing I remember specifically is that was the day that you decided to get up in the gun. Do you happen to remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. There was only like 1 or 2 times that Geezer let me fucking riding the gun, and every time it was bizarre. So I remember one time when I was up in the gun, I think we were on route Michigan still.
Yeah.
And it was after the snipers got hit, because I remember we needed to watch out for the more accurate sniper fire, because that's a whole different story. But Neil was dismounted. He was walking in front of our truck, and we took contact. And I remember seeing all the bullets, all the dust fly up, like where he was walking. And I remember thinking, he's gone. Neil's getting hit right now. and he just like was dancing, and then he ran and like dove behind the median. And I remember thinking, holy shit, like Neil's a legend. That dude, nobody can kill Neil.
Yeah.
That dude's a fucking stud. But uh and then I guess there was a bunch of times just taking contact, because that was when right after Neil dove behind the median, we suppressed fire. That kind of died down. I don't know whatever happened to wherever they were shooting from, but it was like up higher. They were in elevated position. They were like shooting out of a window. And then a car was coming out. I don't remember if it was a taxi cab, but it was like mobbing right at us on the road, and we lit that up, and it swerved and hit the median, and it flipped over.
Mm-hmm.
It flipped on its side. I think at one point when I was up in the gun, I remember I ducked down to say something to Swede or talk to Geezer or somebody, and I had like one hand up on the gun, and that was when they started shooting again, and I didn't think anything of it at the time, but when I came back, there was a hole through my sleeve of my camis, and I was thinking, oh shit, I think I just said either shrapnel or a bullet went through the sleeve, and I thought that was close.
Yeah,
but obviously not as close as Webster. So I think that was the day was that the same day that Webster got hit in the back of the head? Same day.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't want to tell my story when Webster's got one to the dome, and still my camis were much less impressive that day. So.
Well, it was a big shift, right? The first guys that we fought, like you're talking about the April, May time frame, March, whatever. Lots of like crazy spray and pray, lots of AK fire just over walls and stuff like that, or whatever. But it was accurate, but it wasn't point accurate. And then you're exactly right. Come summertime, it was a new element of people, trained insurgents or something.
Yeah.
And the fire was way more accurate, where you're getting bullets through your sleeve.
Yeah.
The trucks are actually getting hit by bullets more and more often. Like plenty of times we'd come back and have ricochets or bullet holes in the trucks. And then Webster, like literally an armor piercing round through the turret, and that hit his helmet. So.
Did they ever let him keep that? I remember he was trying to get it so he could keep it, but
I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when we were driving back, like I think somebody even said like Webster was down or something like that. And I remember when we got back into the firm base, obviously he's in a different truck, but like he took his Kevlar off, and I was like, holy fuck, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But that was wild. That was a good one. I definitely know one, and I'm sure it's probably the same in every truck or in every company, but I learned more about like religion and just nonsense in that deployment right there than I have in my whole life. Because like Monroe was like the son of a Southern Baptist, and then we had Cohen, who was, just a devout. I don't know what the Jewish people call him, but he was like really Jewish. Sorry, Josh, but not like a bad way. But like he was very knowledgeable on Hebrew and Judaism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like watch like the competing sides, and I learned more about theology in that 8 months than the rest of my life. So I think Geezer was starting to wear off on me, because he would say some wild shit. I'm like, that's not true. And then he'd come back like, see, I told you. And I'm like, all right, maybe it's true. All right, maybe you're right. You know what they say? There's no atheist in a foxhole, and definitely a firm believer in that. But that was a wild one too. What else was around that same time? I remember. Do you remember when there was like you said, it was like 100? It was like 120 for like a week straight almost.
Yeah.
And the generators went out.
Yes.
Like the generators overheated. Dude, that was miserable. Like there was just no relief. Like you were just praying to be on night QRF so you could get some airflow in a Humvee or something.
Yeah.
But that was like Death Valley. And which is crazy is when we first got there, do you remember how cold it was in the morning patrols?
Oh yeah.
Like in March? Fuck, it went from like 30 degrees to 120 degrees in a couple months. And I don't know how those people do it.
Yeah, and most of those houses don't have any AC, or if they do, it's in one room only, and just where they slept. Everywhere else was completely unclimate control.
Yeah, and most of them like slept on the roofs too, or like upstairs and shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let's see. What did you do to pass your time other than mess around the hooch with a butterfly knife? Were you one that would you read or did you watch movies or what'd you do?
No, I remember watching movies. We would watch like it was always seemed like we were watching like fucking soap opera shit. Like that was not One Tree Hill, but shows like that. Like I remember we were watching just dumb shit and DVD movies that we bought from the Haji stand.
Yeah.
And I remember they were like the new movies that just came out in theaters. So I was like, oh heck yeah, this is awesome. But then like midway through it, somebody stands up in front of the camera. They're all like pirated.
Yeah.
And you're like, whatever. I get the idea. But yeah, no, we watch movies and fucking Monroe. The only thing Monroe did was clean his gun and re-lube it every day, which
Yeah.
I'm grateful for. But nobody cleaned a gun more than he did. Nobody. But to his credit, that gun never went down.
Never.
Even when we burned through thousands and thousands of rounds in one day, that gun never jammed, never misfired, never stopped running. So he was Geezer was good with that. But I remember going back to remember when we went to was it Junction City once 2-5 came and took over?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Oh, dude, that was fun too. Richie got stuck in the ladder when they bet him that he couldn't fit through the ladder.
Wait,
You remember
what?
that?
I don't know this one. Yeah.
All right. I'll have to send you a picture because I still have it. We bet Richie that he couldn't squeeze through the rungs of this ladder that was on the ladder for a bunk bed.
Okay.
Climb up to the top rack. And so he squeezes through and he got his shoulders up and he pushed it down to his hips, but he couldn't get his hips past it. And then he couldn't get it back up over his shoulders, so it was stuck. And so we had to wander around Junction City looking for a CB to cut it off of him.
That's amazing. That's
I'll have to send you the picture because I still have a picture of him stuck in the fucking ladder.
That's fantastic.
But what else was there? There was definitely other stories from Junction City. I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. I'll just tell it. And people can judge me later if they want. It is what it is. About like 2 or 3 weeks from going home, I decided that I wasn't going to crank that hog. I was going to save that and build it up. And it was just going to be an awesome money shot when I got home. And feel free to edit this out if it's too gross or graphic. I don't care.
Nope.
Nope.
It's not going to hurt my feelings if it doesn't make the cut. But
This is not a family
if it does,
show.
it does, whatever. All right, yeah. There's got to be a warning on this one. So we were back in Junction City, and I don't know if you remember, but it wasn't like a normal hooch where all the guys were sleeping in the same hooch. It was
Right.
There was only like 6 guys, maybe. There was like 3 bunk beds in each one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was on the top bunk, and I forget who was below me. And even if I remembered, I wouldn't tell you their name. Oh, you know what? It was Richie. I'll tell you. And I had a dream. Basically, it what turned into a wet dream. But I had a dream that I was sitting by a fountain, and I remember thinking, "Man, this feels so good." And I woke up just in time for the last stroke, as I'm cranking my hog in my sleep, and just fucking everywhere. And I'm sitting there, I'm in fucking just like the Ranger panties, like skivvy shorts, no shirt, and the mattresses all had plastic wrap on them, and I'm just covered in fucking fertilizer, if you know what I mean. And I got nothing to. I can't get off. Like I can't get off the bunk bed. So all I could think to do was I took my hand and went like wiped it up, and then I didn't know what to do with it, so I just flinged it. And I remember all I could hear was like just spatter going everywhere. I was like, "Oh my god, that's so gross." And then I reached over. There was because we hung our packs on the rack on the bunk beds.
Yeah.
And there was a beanie on the bunk bed, and I just grabbed that thing and cleaned up. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I feel like as I tell the story, it sounds super gross, but I can't be held liable for what I did in my sleep. Like that's not me. I wasn't thinking about that. It wasn't intentional. I'm sorry, Richie. But
Just-
I'm pretty sure it was Richie's beanie, and I fucking cleaned up, and I did swap. I swapped the nightcaps because they're the fleece beanies or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I those things were like coveted, so I took the dirty one and I gave it mine and I replaced it. And I don't think I told anybody that story for years because I was like so grossed out by it. I was just like, what the fuck, man? I was like jacking off in your sleep. What a dirtbag. But it is what it is.
It's good that you switched it because Richie wore that damn beanie all the time.
Yeah,
All
he
the time.
always wore
He
it.
was always wearing it. Didn't matter
Yeah.
how hot it was. He was always wearing that thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely switched it. I remember that because when I didn't wear that beanie. Obviously, we were on our way out the door then, but I didn't put that beanie on my head. I think I probably turned that thing back into Sif the way it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, now that you're talking about the way out, you remember anything for those last little drawdown and then driving up to fly out?
Yeah, I remember when 2-5 came in, they were like real standoffish. Like they didn't want anything. They didn't really want to talk to us. Like we were like, hey, like this is what you're looking for. And they just kind of wrote us off like we didn't know what we were talking about, which I thought was kind of annoying. And then like come to find out later, and again, I don't know how true this is, but like their battalion commander was basically like, hey, these guys are cowboys, they're reckless, that's why they have so many casualties or something like that, that they didn't like the way we were handling business. And I think they found out real quick that our way was working. And so I think I think a lot of the stuff kind of switched back to how we were doing it. So
it did. Yeah. I mean, after you guys moved to Junction City and we stuck around for the final left seat, right seat transition portion, me, Randall, Jordan, Swede, and the lieutenant, they told us to our faces that that's what they were told. I mean, that's not a rumor. They did tell us that's exactly what they were told, that we were a bunch of cowboys, and they were specifically told not to listen to us.
And that's not just your platoon. That happened. I was.
No, yeah, it
I was
seemed
part
like
of the left behind, and it was our platoon was told the same thing. So
yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, like we've been there for almost 9 months, and you're not going to listen to the guys that are on the ground.
They paid for it in blood, though.
Yeah. Oh, we learned the lessons in blood. You'd think that they would have fucking took the easy road a little bit, but
right. Yeah, it's a weird. I don't know. It's a weird culture thing that we didn't have any method to pass things down like officially, right? You would think there'd be some kind of like a record of all the things that we were doing, and here's how it was working, and here's what. Nope, not at all. It was just give each other the middle finger on the way in and out, and that was it. And good luck, you'll figure it out on your own.
Yeah. Well, and even from like, battalion to battalion, like, and maybe this is just my perspective from being just a lowly lance corporal at the time. Like we would do missions and maybe Swede knew, but I'm just like, drive that way. Yeah. Okay. I'm on it. Well, I had no idea what we were doing other than just waiting to get fucking blown up or waiting to take contact. I didn't know if there was anything other than that.
It's funny that you say that. I had lots of conversations, but I think you're right. I mean, there wasn't any time. We didn't sand table or anything like that.
No.
But I know for sure me and Randall and definitely Tweeter and definitely Swede and the lieutenant and staff sergeant knew what was going on. But I don't think we had time to really like disseminate the whole plan. So it was like, we're going here. Good luck.
And I think Swede's probably like, I'll explain it to Groves, but he won't understand anyway. So I'll just point and fucking he'll do that. So he's probably saving himself the headache, and I can appreciate that too. So, but
well, we came back, right? We flew back. We went over to Al Assad Air Base. We rode over on 7 tons, jumped on a plane, got to Kuwait. And then we were in Kuwait for a little bit. You remember anything specifically from coming back or what it felt like, at least before you got to California?
I think it was like just kind of a mix of emotions. I mean, on one hand, you're glad to be done with it, but on the other hand, I think I felt guilty for leaving too, because I knew what 2-5 was going. I was super on the fence about trying to lateral or cross deck over to 2-5. But obviously I'm glad I didn't. I would have missed out on the next Oki deployment, and obviously my guys, like my truck, my crew, my platoon, like I was super tight with those guys. I couldn't leave my guys. But But I think if a couple guys from our platoon decided that they were going to cross deck, that would have like if Swede or Tweeter or you were like, hey, I think I'm going to stay for another pump, I probably would have stayed. So I'm glad you guys didn't either, because that would probably have been a mistake. Especially seeing how 2.5 handled initially. So
I was gonna say, even if that was even in my thoughts in any way, after the handoff, that was a definite no.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we flew back. We went to Kuwait, and we flew back to California. Any thoughts about when you came home?
I was just glad. Once I got home, I was glad to be back. I was glad it was done. I was glad it was over. And I was glad to eat like real food, because I remember like we had T-rats. We were rat fucking MREs for a living. I think the only MRE I ate while I was there, it had to end in an I. So like I would eat like the spaghetti, the tortellini and stuff like that. But if it didn't end in an I wouldn't eat it. That was the that. Do you remember when they came out with the new MREs that had clam chowder?
Yes. Yeah.
This may not be the popular opinion, but that's the best clam chowder I've ever had in my whole life, and I'll fight for it. That clam chowder was delicious.
That's awesome.
But
so I assume when you got back, you kind of mentioned you were married. Did you have somebody waiting for you on the parade deck when we got back?
I don't think I did. I wasn't married at the time.
Okay.
And I don't remember if my parents came down or not. Maybe they did. So if they ever end up listening to us and they were there, then sorry, I don't remember. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm sure they had to have been there. I'm sure somebody was there. But I think I actually cried when I got home, or like when we landed, like coming across the parade deck.
Yeah.
Did they meet us did the families meet us at March, or did they meet us back at Mateo?
There was a couple of people who were holding up signs at March.
Were there?
Yeah. So I always thought that
I
thought that was interesting, because troop movements were supposed to be secret, right? But there was like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 women that were holding up like "Welcome back 2-4" signs on the fence, and then we were there for however long, and we jumped on buses and then came back.
Okay. So yeah, I think when we came back, I think I actually saw my family for the first time on the parade deck, right at the newer barracks of Mateo.
Yeah.
We pulled up there and kind of got out and unloaded. I forget I don't remember if they secured us right then, or if like we got home on a Friday and we came back Monday morning, or whatever it was, or if we went straight into post deployment leave, or what happened. But
there's a couple days. I don't remember what day of the week we came back, but I think it might have been during the week. You know what? I think it was during the week, because I think I remember at least 2 days. At least 2 days, I swear, before the weekend Libo, but like our check-in process was so like every day. Like we had formation at like something late. It was like 7:00, and then they were like, carry out the rest of the day, and then it was basically like, go fuck off. Like we didn't have anything going on, and then we had the weekend, and if I remember correctly, being back in the barracks, they were just trying to keep us kind of contained to the barracks. They didn't really want us going out.
Did you guys have to talk to a chaplain or somebody before post deployment? Like I remember having like being in a room in like one of the barracks or one of the common areas, and there was a chaplain or I don't know, somebody who was basically like acting like a therapist. And he was like, hey, it's okay to feel these kind of feelings. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And of course, nobody's going to open up to the chaplain. No offense to the chaplains, but you're sitting around the room with a bunch of guys with type A personalities that just came back from combat, and they're going to talk about how they feel. Right. And so I think I asked him, is it true if you don't use it, you lose it? And of course, everybody laughed, and he's like, fuck it, we're out of here. And that was the end of the therapy session.
No, all I remember was the like 3-question survey. That was it. I mean, I remember being in a room with everybody, but I remember them handing out that little survey, and it was like, are you having difficulty sleeping? Are you something like, it was like literally 3 questions.
Yeah.
And if you checked yes on any of them, they talked to you, and if not, they didn't. And I think I remember them talking to like one or two people. It was not very many, even though clearly there was several guys who were having issues, but that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, but nobody's gonna. I mean, when you're filling out survey, nobody else is gonna say, "Yeah, I'm having issues." They're just gonna
Right.
sack up and handle it like they see everybody else doing.
Right.
In hindsight, that's probably not the healthiest way to cope, but you know, tell
No.
that to any other 20-year-old kid that just did that shit.
Right. Yeah, and then we got that trash can leave at 30 days. Did you end up going home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went home. I mean, I live so close. I'm 3 hours away from Pendleton anyway, so
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I drove home and hung out. I don't remember it being 30 days, but it very well could have been. I don't know if I took all 30 or if I came back early,
sure.
but
Yeah,
Well,
we would have
then
gotten back from that, and then we would have had our ball, and then you remember going to that one?
going to the ball.
Yeah, right after post deployment.
I know I went to the ball. Do I remember any of it? No. I just remember that. I remember that we looked badass because everybody had the Chesty Puller starter kit with, like I think the first ball, man, that might have been the first ball. No, I think the first ball that I went to, it was kind of before everything had kind of kicked off. And you see every once in a while, you see like a staff sergeant with, 2 rows of ribbons. But at that ball, that's when you saw PFCs and, Lance Corporals with a 3-stack. And you're just like, hell yeah.
yeah.
So you see
Exactly.
salty sergeants that got fucking 4 rows of ribbons, and you're like, that's a hitter right there. So yeah, I remember the first time I saw Gunny Murky in his Class A's or dress blues or something. I remember thinking, dude, that guy right there, that's all that is man right there. One day I'll be like Gunny Murky.
I don't remember. Did you get wounded over there?
Mm-mm.
No, you're one of the few.
I was zigging and zagging at the right times. So
Nice.
Just got lucky.
Did you end up doing more than just your 1-4, or did you just do the 4 years and get out, or did you do more?
No, I did the 4 and then got out. I got a suspicious phone call when I was on inactive reserves, and I think it went to voicemail. I don't think I ever answered it on accident. So I don't know if that was them calling me back, but it definitely said Camp Pendleton on it. And I was like, not today, Satan. Not today.
Yeah, I got a muster letter while I was in college, but I called them immediately. I was like, I have a semester left of college. And they were like, oh, don't worry about it. And they took my name off the list, and I never heard anything again.
No, they made me show up. I had to go to a whole thing and get my butthole looked at again and everything else. And then they were like,
well, it doesn't count. You volunteered for that.
Like, well, we're checking buttholes. No, they put me through the whole physical and all the
fucking call.
Yeah, see, yeah. You could have had an old man look at your butthole for the second time.
Heck yeah. They didn't finger yours. They didn't put a finger in.
Nope.
Knew that fucker lied to me.
Just a quick glance, and they were like, the questionnaire was also retarded too, but then they went through the whole thing. And they're like, oh, we're not really looking for anybody in your MOS right now. And I was like, I was here all day for this. Thank you.
What MOS were they looking for, did they say?
They were looking for mostly mechanics and mostly air MOSs.
Okay.
Like aircraft, anything, aircraft mechanic, weapons loaders, that kind of shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember, not to backtrack a little bit, but do you remember there was one night, I'm assuming we were like either night QRF or we were like one of the day missions, because we were just sitting around like the smoke pit in the front, and there was some guy that was flying a drone. He was trying to get obs on the soccer stadium. They had reports that there was armed insurgents at the soccer stadium. Do you remember that?
No.
So there wasn't many of us out there, but there was some dude, and he wasn't in regular camis. It was like he was in, cami bottoms and like a regular shirt, and he had a controller, but it had a TV screen and everything else. And he was flying a drone, and he said that they had reports of it. And I don't know if he was checking the soccer stadium and doing they were calling for fire, but I remember we were sitting there and we were just kind of watching him fly his drone, and sure as shit, there was people popping up, and he got on the radio, and then the people were fucking dust, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Nice.
But
that had to been the ODA guys, because nobody else would have had that capability in that AO, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I remember, was it the ODA guys that pulled up in that Suburban?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it was probably them.
Yep, they rolled around an armored Suburban. The only other people in armored Suburbans, there was one small private contractor group that came in. There was a triple canopy group that came in Suburbans.
So triple canopy, they were doing like security around the government center, I think, right?
All the time. Yeah.
And I remember we were at the government center. Oh, fuck. I remember that. We were at the government center, and there was like and maybe it's just as a Lance Corporal, when you're looking at these triple canopy, the contractors and private security guys, like they just look fucking badass. You're like, dude, that's what I want to do when I get out. Of course, once you get out, you're like, fuck that. I'm not doing that shit. That's crazy. But like some kid rolled up on a bike and was like trying to push the limit. And he like pulled out this fucking like little wooden billy club, and he fucking hit the kid's bike tire and just tacoed it. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. But the reason that story came up as I was just thinking about it is we did a raid on a movie store or something. They had a bunch of like insurgent propaganda videos, and we found videos of our guys getting fucked up at this movie store. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah. We took all the movies and ended up like 90% of them were garbage, but there was a whole bunch of weird propaganda, Al Jazeera and like other videos that were in there.
Yeah. I remember we watched a video, and I don't know if it was like we had brought it back to the weapons company command hooch or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But we were watching some of the videos, and there was one of the guys that got killed on April 6th from Echo Company. And like they had stripped his vest, and they zoomed in. You could see his name tapes. You could see who it was. And I remember thinking, holy fuck, man. Like these dudes are just animals. They're savages, which I know it sounds bad, but at the time, that's what they acted like. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, sorry to backtrack. That's just
okay.
Came into my brain.
If one pops in your head, that's fine.
Well, not only that, that's a hell of a story. And I can tell you, nobody else has told that story for sure. I don't think anybody remembered that. I didn't remember it until you brought it up.
I remembered it only because, and it's burned in my brain. Like it was the kid's name that they zoomed in. It was PFC Langhorst was his name. I didn't know him personally, but I remember like when they were looking at his face. Obviously, he was gone, but like his vest was stripped. He didn't have his gear. I think his dog tags were still out, but like they zoomed in on it said U.S. Marines, and it said just his last name, just Langhorst. And I was like, oh fuck, that's one of our guys. Yeah. But that one stuck in my brain for a while. Let's see what, and then I'm sure somebody's already talked about the sniper story where the snipers got hit.
If you remember anything specific, you're welcome to talk about it, man. Yeah. But yeah, there's been a couple of people remember some things.
I remember, I think we were day QRF, or we rolled, I think, or maybe the 81s were day QRF, and we just rolled out to help assist with it. But I remember I went in to get coffee out of the command hooch there, and Al Jazeera, which was like Al Jazeera news was always playing, even though it was always in Arabic and nobody could see what it was. But like it said like, yo, breaking news, and then it said Ramadi, and I'm like, oh shit, that's where we're at. And then it was like Al Jazeera was already there, and like they were filming the guys while they were up there, and before we got on scene, but before the QRF got on scene. And I remember I was like, oh, that's not fucking good. And the next thing I know, all the trucks are firing up, and they're like, yeah, we got to go. And I was like, shit. And then that started a few months where the random pop shots were real fucking accurate. I think one of the guys from Fox Company took one to the Sappy that dropped him. Yeah. The Sappy stopped it, but I mean, just one clean shot. And that wasn't happening before that sniper rifle got turned over to the insurgents.
If I remember correctly, the last casualty of the battalion was a sniper shot of Fox Company out of the tower, and it killed the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ended up getting that rifle back in was it Habanilla or something?
It was a year or two later, I think 2006. And yeah, it was another 5th Marines unit that recovered it.
Yeah. I think somebody hit me up and they're like, "Hey, we got you guys' rifle back." And I was like, "No shit." I was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
If you go to the Marine Corps Museum in Quantico, they actually have the rifle.
Yeah, they have
it's actually a really cool exhibit that they've created for OEF. But they have the rifle up on the wall.
I think the wife and I are going to head up to the East Coast in the next few weeks. So maybe I'll have to swing by there. We're going to be in like DC, so that's close enough to wherever that's at. So
it's right across the river.
Yeah, it's just right there.
So maybe
that Marine Corps Museum is totally worth it, man. Like it's well worth your time to go down.
Yeah, we'll check it out. We're going to go up in a few weeks, so we'll have to make a stop there.
Well, that's a perfect segue to probably a good question to close this out since we've been going for a couple hours. When you look back on all this shit 22 years later, what do you think about it? What does it mean to you, and what do you tell people?
Ooh, that's deep, man. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Obviously, I wish I could trade some of the outcomes. I wish we didn't lose the people that we lost for sure. But as far as the being there, like some of the best times of my life right there, that and, raising kids and the family I have now, I wouldn't be here without that experience. So, I mean, the way I kind of look at it is all the little decisions I've made in my life get me to where I'm at right now. And so, that I think that camaraderie that we had then and still have now, you can't replicate that any other way. I mean, when you have that kind of that bond that's forged in fire like that, it's hard to have a bond with anybody else that you have with those people. And I think that's true. Even without talking to anybody else about something like that, I think they probably all feel the same way. Maybe not Miranda, because he was just, we call him Ghost because the motherfucker was just disappeared. I don't even think he liked us, but I liked him.
Yeah.
It's funny. We did interview him. If you have a chance to listen to it, it's pretty good. I think he just didn't talk because English was his second language, man. Yeah, I mean that was the way he described it. He definitely was a lot closer to a lot of us. It was interesting. But yeah.
Oh, Miranda was awesome. He was quiet. The only thing that bugged me is like when we get on guard posts and it'd be 4 hours and I'm just like trying to talk to him like, "Hey man, what do you want to talk about?" And he's just like, And you're like, "Man, 4 hours gonna drag, bro. Fucking do something. Talk Spanish to me. I don't care."
That's hilarious.
But no, I mean, the relationships that I made, the bonds that we forged, like those are. If one of the guys from our platoon, and maybe even mortars, but if one of the guys from our platoon called us and said, "Hey, I need this," I would drop what I was doing, hands down, no questions asked. If Tweeter said, "Hey, I need you in North Carolina tomorrow," I'd be on a plane. It is what it is. And not to bash on the mortars, but there's a running joke that I keep it at my work now that there's only two kinds of mortarmen, and I don't think Blake will be too upset about it, but you're either fucking brilliant, like just you got that dog in you, you're autistic and just absolute fucking genius, or you're an absolute creature with fucking no personal hygiene habits. Like, it didn't seem like there was any in between. You're either
I see. So at what point are you going to say the contentious thing?
Oh yeah, no. I didn't think you'd be mad about it. As long as I put you in the first category. But some of those mortarmen, God, love them to death, but they're not even real humans. They're just creatures.
We are a different beast and had to be run as such. And so
clearly. I remember like some of those guys, I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, shit, I think I got into a fist fight with Rocha. Jamie Rocha.
Yeah.
Fucking, I was having a bad day, and he was fucking with Tweeter, and Tweeter's like, handle my light work. And I was like, okay. And so I fucking just started a fist fight with Rocha in the fucking stairway. And we went to we had like we were leaving that afternoon to go to one of the ranges for like a 2-day training, and Rocha caught me with a fucking right hook that I didn't see, and like my lip was fucking black and blue, and I was just like, God damn it. I think they started calling me Butterbean from like that point on. So I earned my nickname Butterbean with that right there.
That's awesome.
But,
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, it was an awesome experience. I mean, it sucked for a lot of guys. It was hard. It was grueling, but it was incredible at the same time. As weird as that sounds.
No, I very much agree with everything you said.
Yeah, man. It's a perfect way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you again. And I think of you very much the same way. Dude, we chewed some hard fucking dirt, and I enjoyed every fucking time I was side by side with you. I really did. You were always fucking hilarious. You were hard as fucking nails. I always knew I could rely on you. With the exception of one thing, you would never fucking turn the radio off. Never, never. It would kill the Humvee battery, and we'd have to jumpstart that goddamn thing, and I had to beat you with a Kevlar to get you to turn the radio off.
I do remember that. Yeah, you know what? Hey, it worked out. It worked. If that's the one flaw, I'll live with that.
That was it. That was it. I was always like, all right, Groves, we're going to start at the knuckles, and I'm going to keep going up every time you don't turn the radio off. And I got to the shoulder, and you always turn the radio off after that. I was glad, because I was like, fuck, if I have to hit him in the face, I'm going to do it, but this is going to suck.
And what's funny is I got a police car in my driveway right now, and the radio's on. I know it is because I heard it talk already. So you remind me that I'm going to turn my fucking radio off. But no, this was awesome. I love that you guys are doing this, and I'm grateful just to be a part of it. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate everything.
Thanks, man.
It was so good to see you, man.
Have a good night. I'll be in contact, dude.
All right, sounds good.
If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe for future episodes on your favorite podcast service.